Welcome to the Broken Britain Chart Show. 10 stories from this week's news cycle that you might have seen or you might have missed, all condensed into one easy video sharing with you right here. If you're interested, today is the 9th of August, Saturday the 9th of August. Right, let's kickstart this video quickly. In at number 10 in the chart, now I probably should have like Top of the Pops music over the top of this, just to kind of really give it the pizzazz. If I've managed to find a Top of the Pops tune that isn't copyrighted, I'll put it here. But let's get going. In at number 10 this week, in British news, an NHS admin worker, a woman, doesn't say any more about her than that, so I can't give you any more detail, but an NHS admin worker has been caught sending £80,000 of taxpayer money to her Nigerian boyfriend, and she has avoided jail. So an NHS worker caught sending £80,000 to a Nigerian boyfriend has escaped jail. Not deemed important enough for a custodial sentence. Doesn't mention any more detail about the woman. I'm curious as to whether she had just received an email from a Nigerian prince who had asked her to send the money through an email system, or whether it was more nefarious than that. Who knows? But that's in at number 10 this week. Now, in at number 9, a more serious story. A man in Manchester turns up to a school, a children's school, with multiple weapons on him. A 20-year-old man whose name is Deng, and he self-identifies as South Sudanese, has pled guilty and is awaiting his sentencing. So, not a worrying story at all, a man showing up at a school with multiple weapons. I'm sure he'll get a slap on the wrist and let go. But that's in at number 9 this week. In at number 9. In at number 8, a story from the capital of the UK, our very own London, where Currys retail store has decided to put purple messaging on the street outside of its shop to warn you against phone thefts.
Snatched in seconds. Mobile phone thieves are getting more, well, mobile on mopeds and bikes every day. There are hundreds of victims.
Because 80,000 mobile phones were reported robbed last year, and probably hundreds of thousands more that just didn't even bother because the police don't do anything about it. But Currys, the well-known technology retailer in the UK, has decided that the best way to tackle phone thefts on the high street of Oxford is to paint a purple strip outside, warning you about the dangers of London shopping. Welcome to the UK. Let's move on. In at number 7 this week, if you once thought that Little Britain and the character that was played by David Williams, or Walliams, the computer says no.
Computer says no.
Character was made up, just a figment of his imagination, I think this week we have found the real life person, and she just happens to be the Deputy Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan's right-hand woman. She was on a panel this week where she was asked some questions about policies that needed to be voted on and what the response from Sadiq Khan was, and this is her response.
Why isn't the Mayor here?
Because I'm the Deputy Mayor for Police and Crime.
Yes, I know, we all know that. But since the Mayor is making this decision, why isn't he here?
The Mayor has sent me as his Deputy Mayor for Police and Crime.
I've heard your statement. So tell me, when was the Mayor actually told this was happening?
The Mayor has, as well as all of us, been involved in the conversations about the budget since September last year.
So he knew about the front counters closing last September, did he?
No, he knew about the need to look through the...
Yeah, no, we all know that. When was he told that the front counters were closing?
all of us, the Commissioner outlined proposals for tough choices in autumn last year.
Can you just tell me, when was he actually told, or was he asked, that they were actually closing? Was he consulted, or was he just told that the front counters were closing? Which is it?
He was consulted.
When?
We've had several meetings as we went through, as I
Okay, give
discussed
me a
in
rough
the...
idea. What month?
We saw the most developed proposal on this thing in July.
So basically, he's known about this for quite some time.
He's known about the proposal, the exact list of the proposal, similarly about the same time as we all knew.
We all knew. He's the Police and Crime Commissioner. That surprises me. So he knew at the same time as we knew. Is that right?
No, we had initial meetings relatively recently, but what I'm saying is...
That's what I'm asking you. There we are. There we are. We've got down to the original question. When was that?
So yes, that just goes to show that the character from David Williams might have been based on a real person. And again, I just want to reiterate, that woman is on £150,000 a year. She's the Deputy Mayor. She's in charge of the police right now while Sadiq Khan is on holiday. She's in charge of your safety. Okay, in at number 6, the police are suspected of using facial recognition but also searching the passport photo database to tie those that they've identified perhaps during marches or at protests that they might want to speak to. And whilst invalidating your GDPR policy in the UK, they've decided to trawl the passport photo database to link up who they might want to speak to. And I'm sure, given the latest policies that's been rolled out by the government, that's nothing to worry about, right?
Hello.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, what's up?
Absolutely nothing, so don't panic. It's just a very quick one. I appreciate you're at work, but Warwickshire have asked me to come round and just basically, it's a load of bollocks, mate, but it's about this protest tomorrow in Warwickshire.
Yeah.
And just saying, obviously, that they're aware that you might be wanting to attend that planned protest, and obviously that's absolutely fine. You've got a freedom of speech, and that's no issues at all. And all they've asked me to do, mate, it sounds daft, so I apologise, and it's really woeful. It's not something I agree with, but I've been asked to do it. It's just to drop a leaflet about being involved in a protest. It sounds bad, but it is what it is.
Do me a favour. Take it back to them, and
Yes,
write
mate.
back on it to them, say, we will no longer be silenced, and to fuck himself. From me, with love. Cheers. Thanks very much.
With love.
Yeah, with love. Yeah.
Cheers,
Because
dude.
the silent majority of Britain will no longer stay silent. Tell them that. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, in at number 5. Number 5 this week is a shopkeeper. A shopkeeper who has been spoken to by the police because he put up an offensive sign. What was the offensive sign that he put up? He said that because of thieving scumbags who have been visiting his shop every day and stealing many, many items, he's having to ask customers to shop in a slightly different way. However, regardless of all of that, the word scumbags was deemed as offensive. He was reported to the police and he was visited about his hate speech. Welcome to Britain. In at number 4 this week, it's the looming potential tax hikes. Now, we all remember that when Rachel Reeves came in, she promised that she wouldn't hike taxes on working people. Can't quite define what working people are, but she did state that she was going to avoid increasing taxes. And now here we are, after the 22 billion black hole that she championed or shouted about so vigorously.
£22 billion black hole.
The £22 billion black hole of £22 billion. Of the £22 billion black hole, the £22 billion in-year black hole.
Rachel Reeves is almost certainly going to have to hike taxes.
It now seems that the black hole is over 50 million. And in the next budget, you, the tax slaves of Britain, are going to have to just pay a little bit more.
Just a little bit,
just a little bit more, guys. And it's rumoured that that will affect both lower rate taxis and also the higher. So the 20% and the 45% range are just going to have to pay a little bit more, guys, because the only way we can save this country, save the NHS, save our councils, save the country, it's a little bit more money out of your pockets. All right, so that's one to watch. Let's see where that goes. And at number 3, the homelessness minister for the Labour Party. Yes, a woman called Rushanara Ali, the homelessness minister for Labour, was caught this week in a scandal where she forced out tenants that she was renting a property to, thus making them homeless, in order to relist the property for £700 more. Isn't that nice? The person responsible for looking after people on our streets herself has made people homeless in order to profit just a little bit more from it. The Labour government. All right, in at number 2, just in at number 2 position. Now, you might have seen this story on the press the last couple of days. Hold on. This person in their boat's got a generator there that's running, so I thought I would just walk past that slightly before I take you to the top of Broken Britain's chart show for this week in August. So, number 2, this one's doing the rounds. A man on a train on the Hammersmith line appears during the day naked in the lower half. He's lowered his trousers and he's standing in the middle of carriage area, and he is approached by a man who asks him to pull his trousers up because there's kids around. He refuses, and eventually a number of men ask him and challenge him to cover himself up, and he doesn't. He refuses, and eventually a fight breaks out. Now, the man is a black man and he's approached by a couple of white men and challenged. But of course, how did the press cover this story about a man half naked showing his lower half with children on board the carriage? How did the press cover it? Well, take a look right here. Mental health. The people who challenged them are not being covered well by the press. And instead, the victimhood of the man standing there half naked, we should think about his feelings. What a shame. This is Britain now, where when you try and do something that would seem right, like, hey, can you pull your trousers up? You're labelled in the paper pretty much just as a bigot. You're a bigot because you helped other passengers out, and then people wonder why nobody comes to the rescue. Well, ask Daniel Perry in America how that played out for him, right? Would you want to be sitting in a prison cell waiting for somebody to decide whether what you did was just, right, or not? Yeah. Nor me. All right, so that story plays out. And then lastly, number 1 in the charts. What have we got in number 1 in the charts? Well, this is a cracker of a story, but it's the tale of school kids, small children in Birmingham who were encouraged to create Valentine's Day cards for migrants. Valentine's Day cards for migrants. Now, I don't know if you're following the stories online over the last couple of weeks, but the number of attacks on young children, mainly young girls, seem to be on the rise, to the point where it looks almost like it's daily, which is quite terrifying. However, this story broke where a Birmingham school encouraged the kids to create Valentine's Day cards to welcome migrants. And that is this week's roundup of Broken Britain's chart show. What a country we live in. Let me know down in the comments, which was your favourite chart topper this week? Which of the 10 resonated most with you? And I'll be back next week with another 10 big hitters, fresh from the pop charts, ready to deliver to you. Have a great day, everyone.